So I've been in the industry now for roughly 20 years. I actually started off working with a craft brewery in Alaska and moved into the wine industry primarily because I felt like wine was a much fuller life cycle, from soils to vines to winemaking to cellaring, all the way to the point of enjoyment. And to me, that was really fascinating. I was very fortunate. I had a winemaker in Santa Cruz that actually hired me out of Alaska to come manage his business. And I have kind of built my career working for small-ish family wineries, so all privately owned and operated. And I just love the industry. I love the passion that people bring to it. I love the creativeness. I love that blend of science and art. And that's what really drew me into the wine business. And, I've worked with some of the greatest winemakers in the world. And I've worked with individuals that are in the Vintners Hall of Fame, and have worked both on the production side as well as the business side, but primarily as a general manager. And for me, that's what's been the richest aspect of my career path. Participating in this program, I think, has been very important as well, because I like to be able to share knowledge. I like to learn from people. I think what's really great about this program is that we have people that have a wealth of industry experience. We have people that are new to the university. We have people with PhDs. We have people that are looking for the next step within their career path, and they see this as a way to really gain that knowledge. And to me, being a part of that and encouraging that interaction between the students and the curriculum has been deeply satisfying. And I'm really excited too to see that so many of the people that have been in our course have actually used this to advance their personal businesses. So we have a lot of winery and vineyard owners that participate in this program. And we have people that are kind of forging their new path, and they find ways to understand things a little bit better. It might be a winemaker that's been so focused on producing really great wine, but then is looking for, I need to understand the marketing side or the sales side, or how does the finance work? And all of those pieces get pulled together in this course, and then kind of lay a foundation for them to take the next steps within their career path.
You're teaching 2 of the courses. So you start out with the foundation level, which is the 4-week course, and is kind of the introduction to the wine business management. But then you also teach the advanced level, the strategic marketing course.
So, the foundation course is really the first class that people experience within the curriculum, and it's really, really broad. And I try to touch on all aspects of the business. So, from the very beginning of what's the concept of starting a business, what is your mission statement, your values, your marketing plan, finances, legal and regulatory things, all of those things, but it's done kind of in an overview fashion, and it's kind of based in building a business plan. The later course, which is one of the advanced courses, is strategic wine marketing, and we dive really deep into the marketing of wine, the different channels of sales, how you reach your target consumer, how you identify them, how you reach them, all of the tools that are now currently available, And, for people that have been in the industry for 20 or 30 years, the environment is so different now. Some of those tried and true techniques that worked for people that were building a nationwide distribution system, many of those still work, but there's extra layers now that make those relationships more meaningful, incentives that can be used to support both sides of that equation. And then there's the whole direct consumer side, which is just, it exploded. I mean, it's such an important part of our business as a whole. And everybody has a slightly different approach. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually what makes you relevant. It makes you different. And I think, learning the process of actually evaluating what's your product, who are you trying to reach, but more than that, closing that loop and saying, this is what we've been doing, but who's actually buying that wine, and are we targeting the right people? And it's not a one size fits all, but it requires a full circle, right? So it requires looking at every step along that process and evaluating it, learning from it, and then re-implementing and continuing. A lot of them have been in the industry for a long time. A lot of them have maybe been in other industries and are looking to work in the wine industry. And we have so much to learn and gain. Even if somebody's been working in tech for the last 30 years and is thinking about retiring and starting a winery, they have some insight into how they've been able to be successful in their own industry. And they're going to share that with the students. And we're all going to be able to look at that and then kind of filter it through a new lens. For a lot of people to actually not be sitting in the classroom, but sitting at their home, and then being able to be self-directed to work through all of the readings, work through all the assignments. I think by the end of the course, they're more independent, they're more aware. All of those skills end up helping them long-term for their business and the industry as a whole.
A lot of people have expressed concern about distance learning, and that's what our program has always been. It's always been a virtual learning platform. And I think part of the thing is that students think that there's very little interaction with other students in the classroom, but from listening to you speak, it sounds like there is interaction between the students.
We usually spend maybe half the time in lecture and presenting new information. And then we have kind of an open forum where people are able to ask questions, people are able to use the chat feature. We're able to kind of interact in a more live and interactive manner. And the second piece really is that we use discussion forums. And so they're set up actually every single week. So we have a new topic. I think is really valuable is the people in this course come from all over the world. And so, it's not just people that are living in Sonoma or people that are living in Napa or people that are in California. We have people from all over the country. We have people from all over the world. And they all have a different view of what's worked for them. And they use these discussion forums to really talk about the challenges that they have, opportunities that they've had, the great successes that they've had. And we have these opportunities not only to learn from their experience, but also it actually develops this kind of direct connection for people too. So that you're sharing ideas with, but you also have an ability to connect with. And so perhaps you're living in Oregon right now working for a Pinot producer and you're looking maybe to move to New Zealand. You might have had two people in the class from New Zealand, and you could just reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is my experience. Is there people you can put me in contact with? And I think that also is one of the real values of kind of building this network of people. And every single class you take, you'll probably see some people that you recognize, but you're going to also meet some new people every single time as you work your way through the curriculum. And
I just finished the master's program, the wine industry master's program at Sonoma State. And one of the greatest things that I took out of there was the networking. So that's great that with the certificate programs, and especially it being virtual, that you could still have that network. And, I know that my classes were all in person, and that felt, like that was an important part of why we connected, but it doesn't have to be that way. And of course, we're finding out with the pandemic that it's still very easy to connect when you're on a remote platform or virtual platform. But what is a couple things you would say to a student if they asked you why they should take this program, and especially why they should take this program in the uncertain times that we are in? And it's not just the pandemic. I mean, we've had a lot of things happen in the wine industry. There's a lot of volatility there with the fires and the power shutoffs, and like you said, the tariffs, and now we have the pandemic. So what would you say to a student that asked you why they should take this program?
for most people, and I consult for kind of a host of different wineries, both in the US and internationally. And when I'm working with people and they're asking me honestly, what's my next step? How could I, advance my career opportunities? What could I do to, um, you know, change my life course? And typically for me, I always kind of fall back to education. And I feel like, especially today in a very competitive marketplace, being able to say that, you made a real commitment, you decided that you were going to spend, a couple of years pursuing a course of action that isn't necessarily specific to your one job area, but covers all of them. And I remember really early in my career when I was working for a craft brewery, and they said that I needed more finance experience to take the next step. They had put me in a box that they pictured me as a chemist, or they pictured me as a brewer, but they didn't see me working within the business construct of the company. And it was one of those things where I thought, how do I change that? How do I change the mindset about that? How do I allow them to see me in a larger light, that I'm not just on one side, but I have the capacity to focus on a much broader range? So I had to find a way to do that. And education was my course. Continued to kind of build my base so that they could start to see me in a different light. And I think that's one of the things that this course can give you, is it can expand beyond. It develops your language. It develops your thought processes. It develops your understanding of a business from a different point of view. And that's where, I think programs like this become so important and so rich. It's not just, one line to put on a resume. it's all the work, it's the thought process, it's the understanding and the knowledge that comes from all of those classes that, now creates new opportunities for you.